Due to the current shortage of plasterboard in the industry, we've had a lot of questions as to if we can use our STS Construction board as a alternative. Now, we've got together this afternoon. We're all working from home, so we thought we'd get on a Zoom call, do a quick Q&A session, and see if we can come up with some answers to the questions that we've had sent through. I'm here today with some of my colleagues. Got Vince from the sunny south. How are you today, Vince?
Full of the joys of spring, Charlie. Absolutely excellent. Lovely and sunny here in Suffolk. So, yeah.
Good, excellent. I'm over here with Joel. He looks after the northeast of the country. You okay today, Joel?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, not quite as lucky as Vince with the sun today, but it is there somewhere, I believe.
Yeah, good. I'm sure it will be. And we have our managing director, Eddie. How are you?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. Not quite so sunny here either.
Good, excellent. Well, I'm from the same region as Joel and Eddie, up in Leeds, and yeah, it's a bit rainy outside here too. But let's get started with the first question. So our first question is, are your boards the same size as plasterboard, and can you apply multi-finish plaster or similar onto your construction boards? Vince, I don't know if you can start with answering that.
That's an interesting question, Charlie, and certainly one we often get when we're out and about in the field. In answer to the first part of that question, in terms of the size of the boards, yeah, absolutely. We do two different sizes of board, dimension-wise. So we do obviously 12mm thick, and we do a 1200 by 800 millimeter, which is normally classed as like a single man lift. And then we do a 8x4 sheet, so 1200 by 2.4, which is a full-size sheet. So yeah, absolutely comparable with plasterboard sizes for use on walls.
Good, that's excellent. Have you got anything to that, Eddie?
Yeah, when it comes to multi-finish, there's not a problem using the multi-finish on it. You just have to make sure that you prime the board because it's slightly dusty.
Yep.
And make sure it's fixed fully back to your substrate, so you get your fixings right through.
Good, excellent. Joel, do you have anything to add to that question?
No, I think they've covered that one pretty much.
There is one little point there in terms of SPR. I was just thinking there as Eddie was speaking. We always recommend doing two coats, don't we? And it's often better to apply the multi-finish, whilst the second coat is still slightly tacky.
Yeah, that's correct. And it must be an SBR based primer. A PVA one isn't good enough. Good.
And is that SBR, do you put that on neat, or do you need that diluting?
I think that's diluted 3 to 1, so 3 parts water, 1 part SBR.
Good.
Yeah, that's correct.
Good, that's right. And am I correct in thinking 1 litre covers about 40 square metres?
That's right, yeah.
Good, I think that covers off the first question well. If we move on to the second question, I notice you offer a range of different thicknesses in your boarding range. Can you apply multi-finish or similar to all of them? And are there certain thicknesses you would recommend for use as a wallboard? Can you start us off on that one, Eddie?
Yeah, so to cover off the thicknesses of the board, yes, we do 3 different thicknesses that you would use as a wallboard. We use the 6mm, 9mm, or the 12mm, and you can put multi-finish plaster on or similar on all of them, as long as you're fixing it in the same way as we discussed before.
Good, that's helpful. Vince, do you have anything to add to that question?
No, I was just thinking as Eddie was talking then about the 6mm. Obviously, the biggest concern with 6mm boards is that they are less rigid, so you just have to make sure the substrate. Ideally, this would be onto like a solid concrete wall rather than onto a stud wall. And if it was onto a stud, we'd always recommend maybe putting like an OSB board behind, so you're using our board as a waterproofing or plastering surface. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's good.
One thing one bit of feedback I've had is from the guys out there actually using our boards and plastering onto it, is they often prefer the 12mm, especially if they're trying to match it with existing walls with plasterboard on. So I would say predominantly the 12mm is the most popular option, if you like, for out of any of our construction boards for use on walls.
No, that's good. Thanks, everybody. And then just moving on to our last question. What are the main benefits of using STS construction boards over plasterboard? Joel, go for it.
Yeah, again, that's another question we get asked a lot. They're two separate boards, really, as in total separate idea in terms of the composition. Firstly, our STS construction boards are fibre cement, which, put simply, is sand, cement, organic fibres, and water. That's literally it. And that mixture kind of sort of produces a very high strength, impact resistant wallboard. And due to its density, it's got great thermal mass as well, which obviously makes it a very popular option. The simple sort of ingredients of the board, if you like, also lends itself to fire protection, water resistance, great soundproofing properties, and it's all in one board. In fact, talking about fire, we've actually got up to 118-minute burn time on a single skin partition wall, which in most cases is unheard of, particularly for single skin. Don't know what anybody else would say on that.
Yeah, and the impact resistant side of it, because the same single skin, it's such a strong board. It's great for things like areas of high traffic, such as schools or I don't know, commercial buildings. If a kid in an apartment throws a bike against the wall, doesn't bother it at all. You might get the odd thumping of the wall that would go through on a plasterboard, but it's not got a chance on going through on a construction board.
Yeah, and even in like hospitals and care home environments where there's sort of always trolleys bumping against the wall, that kind of thing, our STS board has really shined, if you like, in those areas, because it's far less maintenance. Plus, obviously, you've got your fire protection as well.
The other interesting point is on the compared with plasterboard. Plasterboard is any waste of plasterboard has to be disposed of at a cost. You have to pay for the disposal, whereas with the STS boards, due to their composition, they're 100% recyclable, so they could be put in a standard skip or landfill waste. So that saves a bit of money on any leftovers you've got on site.
Yeah, and if you're using plasterboard in a tiling environment, where, to be fair, it's becoming less and less as the standards increase, if any moisture does get through to that plasterboard, it literally over not that too long a time, it actually tends to sort of turn into a bit of a mulch. But our board, if it does get moisture, it's not affected in any way. So you're not going to start getting cracked grout lines and cracked tiles, that kind of thing. Another benefit there.
Yeah, that's good. And I've actually just used some of the 12mm construction board myself in a shower area. And what I found great about it is that you can fix straight into it. So you can you don't need screw and plugs the same. You can just drill straight through into it and fix like your toilet roll holder or your shower screen and things like that. So it's got a good hold there for screwing things into as well, which is great.
And in our offices, we've even just prepared the wall just with the boards and painted it. It looks absolutely great.
Yeah.
Fill the joins and paint it.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's that one board that does the multiple application, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. You get the right through from an equivalent to plasterboard to plaster onto, but also you've got the fire protection, the render, external render carrier, water protection, sound reduction, all those different areas, high impact in one board. Makes it a lot better to use on site, actually. A lot of people refer back to that when we're talking to guys on site. Makes it a lot easier for them. Just one product that does all the jobs.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that should give everyone a lot to think about, with the benefits of the STS construction board over plasterboard, which is brilliant. And I think that brings us to the end of this session, which has been really useful. But stay tuned, because we will be doing another one next week on render applications for the STS construction board. So all the best and stay safe, and we will see you next week.